In this incredible story, a woman gets kidnapped for her own proposal. What was meant to be one of the happiest moments of her life so far turned into something truly traumatic. There are so many updates to come in this one. Let's get into it. My boyfriend's friends pretended to kidnap me for a proposal. I am trembling, and I just created this alt account because my main has a lot of details about me that would make it easy to trace back. A week ago, my boyfriend told me he had a camping trip planned with his friends on Friday, today. He said he'd have no service and he'll see me on Sunday. He messaged me at 5 a.m. this morning and told me they're hitting the road. At around 8, I went for a run like I usually do on Fridays. I have one headphone in while I do because I was on a work call. While I was running, I noticed an SUV that kept popping up. In hindsight, it looked just like my boyfriend's childhood friend's car. I sent a message to my sister saying to stand by and shared my location. Right after sending the message, I looked up and the SUV was right beside me, and someone jumped out and grabbed me. It happened so fast I even dropped my phone on the pavement. I was pulled into this car, and I could tell there was at least 2 masked guys in the back before they covered my eyes. In hindsight, they had cartoonish ski masks and black gloves on. I freaked out and resisted like crazy, screaming and kicking. All I could hear was these guys laughing, and I could feel one of them holding me down by my arms behind me and the other holding my legs down at my knees. I don't know how long I was in there, but I kept begging them to let me go and crying. I even admit I peed myself, but I don't think they'd noticed until we arrived at the house. They pulled me out of the car and I was screaming for help until I was pulled into the house. When the mask on my head was removed, I was on my knees in front of my boyfriend of 2 years. He was staring at me with a confused look before he started to angrily ask his friends what was going on. As I started to adjust to what was going on, I realized he was dressed nicely and there were romantic decorations around the entryway to the house. I realized who he was and what was going on, and I collapsed into sobs. I probably had a 5-minute panic attack in that car on my way there, and another one sitting in the entryway to his house. I was sweaty, wearing soiled yoga pants, flushed with fear, scared for my life. That was all about an hour or 2 ago. My boyfriend took me upstairs and was going to help me get showered and changed, but I wanted to do that alone. I heard yelling and commotion downstairs while I showered, but I didn't know what was going on. I'm sitting in his room now, holding my shattered phone after crying to my sister about what happened. She lives an hour and a half away, but is speeding over to get me now. I can't stop thinking about what happened, and even though I know now that I was never in any danger, I don't think my brain can comprehend it. They were snickering and teasing me in deepened voices about what they were going to do to me. The one that was holding my legs down kept caressing my thighs up and down into the inner area. When the car would brake, his face kept falling into my chest. I don't even know who that was. I just know that one of them sounded unsure and kept trying to defuse the situation, but I think it was the driver. Wow, what a crazy start to this story. As I said in the intro, there are many updates to come and we're going to get into them in just a few moments, but first of all, what do I even say to that? Comment down below, guys. What are your immediate reactions to what I've just read? I would love to know so many things. Like, I have so many questions and all will be revealed in the updates. But first thing that comes to my mind is, did the boyfriend really know how crazy this was going to be? Are they his close friends? Why did he do this in the first place? Why on earth were they touching you and, getting close to you in that sort of way? Oh, it's crazy. I don't know if this was supposed to be some sort of prank that just went wrong, but the fact of the matter is, it was just a horrible, horrible experience for you. And OP, off the bat, before we get into any updates, I'm so sorry that this happened. Okay, so first of all, in the comments down below, a lot of people were discussing whether or not the boyfriend was involved or to what extent he was involved. And OP had this to say. I don't think he knew how they were going to do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he used the words kidnap and they took it too far. He's never given a red flag before, but if his friends are crazy like this, I need to reevaluate him too. I'm not sure, and I don't want to immediately talk to him. I think I'm feeling traumatized or something because I just can't physically talk to anyone except my sister. Guys, remember that OP is writing this and responding to comments pretty soon after the fact, right? She's still in the house upstairs with her sister just a couple of hours after this all happened. The next question from the comments was if OP's boyfriend is from a culture where something like this is more common, but OP instantly says no. He's ethnically from the Middle East and I am from Eastern Europe. Very similar backgrounds actually. We were both born and raised in America. and we're both culturally and socially very Western/American. And then finally, one commenter asks if OP could possibly stay with her sister and get some space from her boyfriend. And OP says that they don't actually live with their boyfriend at all, so either way, I'll stay with my sister a city away, or she'll stay with me tonight. Okay then, so let's get into an update. This one was posted 5 hours later. I'm working with police now. This is going to be investigated as a false imprisonment if I press charges. My sense of time was so warped. From where I was picked up to his house was about 7 or 10 minutes in the car, but it felt like way longer than that. As for the friends, the driver was his childhood best friend, who I actually get along well with. He was in tears when he voluntarily arrived at the police station for a statement. The other two were friends from his athletics class that he started attending a few months ago. It seems like the two guys I didn't know wanted in on what otherwise was supposed to be something more innocent. The original plan was for them to pop out of this car in their funny kidnapping attire and hand me a letter that explained I was being summoned by my boyfriend and that resistance is futile. It seems though like the plan changed as the two new friends wanted to shake me up a bit more and make it feel more real. Okay, so there we go. I guess a little insight into how involved OP's boyfriend was in all of this. Now, you could argue that it's not really the boyfriend's fault because he didn't actually say to his friends to do this. It was them doing this themselves and it was, just out of his hands. However, I would say to that he was the one who chose to kind of put this all into place in the first place. He was the one that employed his two friends to do this, right? Said, do this. And ultimately, if you're going to be trusting two friends that you've only known for a few months in your proposal to your girlfriend, the woman that you want to be with for the rest of your life, that's a very important moment, then that's kind of a bad thing for you to do, right? I mean, you're trusting two guys that you've barely known to do something that's so important. Very, very risky, and that ultimately is your fault, even though they obviously didn't do what you asked them to do. As for the two guys, I mean, they're just complete wrong-uns, right? Like, what are they doing? Seriously, what are they doing? The driver, fair enough, probably was focused on the road and was like, guys, what are you doing? This is very, very uncomfortable. And you can see the remorse later on in this post. But for the two guys themselves, like, how are you even mates with them in the first place? That is what I just don't really understand. Okay, now for the next updates. I've had time to calm down and had long talks with my sister. We're going to meet up with my ex-boyfriend for dinner tonight. That's with a question mark, by the way, I guess unsure at this moment. He's been respectful of my request for space, but has been emotional whenever he thinks about what I went through this morning. His best friend contacted me repeatedly, apologizing for allowing it to get that far, but I asked for him to stop, and he did. The best friend's fiance reached out and has been supportive and apologetic too. I am astounded at the support I've received here, and I wish I could thank each of you individually. I've never had anyone other than my sister and boyfriend care for my mental well-being like this. Reddit is a very kind place sometimes. And then finally, we got this update just a week or so ago. In short, I'm healing. My now fiance had a private proposal with me last week. Oh, wow. You know what? I'll be honest, guys. I really didn't expect that, but I was kind of hopeful. We had many tough conversations, and his responses to everything reminded me how safe and loved I am by him. He didn't ask for or endorse that type of plan. I've learned that the two friends whom I didn't know were highly influenced by YouTube pranksters and social experiment channels. Also, one of them let us know he's on the spectrum and apologized for his part. Okay, fine, but just because you're on the spectrum doesn't mean you can go around actually properly kidnapping people. Come on. I think that's all I can share for now. I'm only consulting right now, and I may not actually press charges. Once again, thank you so much for all the kindness and support. Opening my inbox today warmed my heart incredibly. Now, there is one final edit from OP saying this. There are a lot of people who disagree with me staying with my fiance. I'm sorry I couldn't explain in detail how confident I am in him throughout this. Please read carefully before passing judgments, and I'm sorry I couldn't please everyone with my decisions. But after further response, I think pressing charges is the best course of action. Maybe I'm a bit too tender-hearted, but I didn't want the former best friend to get some flack too, but it seems he has to. Yeah, that is a tough one right there. I don't really know how I feel about that. I think I completely agree with OP. In reality, yeah, you don't want the driver who is actually probably a good person, and it really wasn't on them, was it? I mean, there was going to be a driver no matter what happened, even if OP had been handed the note as planned and it had been relatively fun, they were still going to be involved. So it's a tough one on their behalf. But ultimately, if you're going to press charges on those other two, and you have to do that, and I'm really happy that you have done, then yeah, sadly, the driver, the childhood friend, is going to be caught up in one way or another. But, you know, if you show remorse and you say, look, I'm so sorry, I didn't expect it to happen like this, and I was just driving the car, and it was all planned out like this, and, you know, you get the boyfriend's words, and OP says that they really don't think the driver was in the wrong really that much at all, then the sentence in theory shouldn't be too bad on the driver. But those other two, I hope they actually go to jail. Not gonna lie, because I don't know, there was lots of different words that you could put in front of assault there that they did on OP. Now, as for your boyfriend / now fiance, I'm happy about that. I am, because I do feel like he just made a fatal error, and it was a terrible error. The sort of error that you'd really hope not to make at that stage in a relationship, but still, you could see that this is just not what he had planned at all. It went horribly wrong. It's a terrible shame, but ultimately, we're not going to know, guys. We're just reading one post and a couple of updates from OP. It's up to OP, and if she's happy with her decision and has had solid conversations with her now fiance and feels that over the course of their relationship, this is just a blip, who am I to say no? I think fair play for sticking with him and not just, you know, completely getting out of the relationship just from one terrible mistake. Now moving on to our next story. This one originally from r/relationship advice, and there are a lot of updates to come. My husband and son both lied to me. I am a 34-year-old woman. My husband is a 36-year-old man. We've been married for 12 years. A few weeks ago, my husband said that he has seen another woman handle situations that he didn't think I would be able to handle. I tried to talk to him about why it bothered me, and he just told me it was a passing comment and that I shouldn't take it so seriously. He said he'd meant to simply compliment her by saying she was handling so much on her own and that he was impressed by it. But I told him it was completely unnecessary and hurtful to compare her to me to compliment her. He told me I was being unreasonable and jealous and that he didn't mean anything by it. After that, he didn't say anything else about it, so I dropped it. Then yesterday, when I came home from work, I saw a pair of women's Fendi sunglasses on our kitchen island, kind of hidden by our fruit bowl. I picked them up and I asked my husband whose they were. He looked confused and was like, "Aren't they yours?" And I said, "No." Our older son, 11 years old, is sitting at the kitchen table and goes, "Oh, those are my friend Alison's. I took them home by accident." I was immediately suspicious. These are very expensive sunglasses. I know Alison's mother, and she doesn't seem like the type to let her child bring something worth that much money into school. My son kept insisting they were hers, and that he'd just taken them home accidentally on the bus, and that he'd return them to her tomorrow. But I said no, that I'd return them to her mother in person so I could make sure they got to them safely. When I spoke to Alison's mother, she confirmed that they weren't Alison's, and that neither she nor her daughter owned sunglasses like that. When I told my son and my husband, they both feigned ignorance. My son went from saying that he could have sworn they were Alison's to, well, maybe not, maybe I don't know whose they are. And then my husband said that he does remember taking the sunglasses out of our son's backpack when he was getting out his lunch stuff. My younger son, who is 9, just came home and recognized the sunglasses. They are Noelle's, the woman my husband helps out sometimes, the one who he told me to not be upset over comparing me to her. I'm going to confront him when he gets home. I don't know what to say to him. I feel as though I'm going to immediately burst into tears. Can someone please give me advice as to what to say? And also just general advice, please. I never thought I'd be in this situation. Well, before we get into the update and we get the reveal of what exactly is going on here, I'm going to be honest, I don't have too much confidence. I feel like OP is in a world of trouble, and yeah, ultimately, it's very likely that you're being cheated on. As much as it pains me to say it, and it's going to be a horrible experience for you, I think that's what's going on here. The thing that's absolutely mental to me and that I can't quite work out is why your son is covering for your dad. Like, to do that, to actually lie about something like that, in the knowledge that you are lying, right? Normally, you just say, oh yeah, I don't know whose they are, but you're lying for a reason. There's no other reason to lie than to cover up for your dad. Why are you doing that? You're 11. It makes me think that surely the dad has been in the 11-year-old's ear and told him that which is even more crazy. Imagine cheating on your wife and then telling your son to help you out and cover up your infidelity. Is that really what's going on here? That's the thing that I can't get my head around, but nonetheless, let's get in to the reveal. Okay, so this was posted just one day after the original. When he got home, my husband admitted they were Noelle's. She's been over there while I was at work. My husband had not realized they were hers. He thought they were mine, which is why he didn't move them. My older son realized whose they were immediately, which is why he lied about them. He knew I was about to find it all out and was trying to cover. My younger son recognized them because apparently they've gone with Noelle numerous places on my husband's days off while I was at work. I don't know what he told my older son, but he told my youngest not to tell me about Noelle and her son hanging out with them because I would feel bad about being left out because I was at work. What the heck? I returned the glasses to Noelle, who seemed horrified. She was under the assumption I knew about their hangouts. I asked her why she thought it would be okay. She looked really confused and told me why would I care if we were separated anyway. Wow. I told her we absolutely were not separated. We were very much still together. Apparently, my husband told her we'd not been together except for cohabiting and co-parenting for months now. I confronted my husband with this information and he didn't deny it. He apologized but said he had developed feelings for Noelle, but didn't want to risk our marriage until he knew if they were true feelings or just attraction. He left the house. Noelle wants nothing to do with him because now she knows the truth. He lied to her as well, and she is furious. I'm speaking to a lawyer today. I'm not going to speak to him again except through lawyers since I don't have anything else to say to him. And that right there is the definition of a modern day rat. Simple as that. Sorry. But it's true. You can't just be doing that. I'm sorry, it's actually so crazy that I have to laugh at that sort of stuff. Let me just try and, see if I want to cheat on my wife with this woman. But I'm not entirely sure if I want to lose the guarantee of having sex with my wife and the comfort of that relationship until I know for sure that I can have a new one. So we're just going to do this as like a kind of like a free trial, you know? You know when you sign up to Amazon, like, yeah, you get a 90-day free trial, but you don't have to actually pay any money. Gonna do this with Noelle for a little bit, but I can always just go back to my wife if it doesn't work out. Oh, actually, no, I do like Noelle. Are we gonna jump ship? Nah, let's just do both for a while and lie to both of them, and then eventually get found out, thankfully, and both of them have left, which is good because that is what this guy deserved to have happened to him. What an absolute disgrace of a man. Now, you know what? I thought about it. As for the 11-year-old kid, that is just a tough position to be in. I don't blame him at all, actually, because you're 11. You probably want to keep your parents together, right? That's the done thing. You're not really thinking, you're 11, right? So you're probably just gonna make up a lie or whatever and try and keep the peace. Don't blame the kid. Completely blame the dad. And again, OP and Noelle, because you were lied to as well, I'm very sorry that you were put in this truly awful situation. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. Really hope you enjoyed these Reddit stories. I love these sort of stories with good, solid updates. Now, admittedly, in this one, they were quite sad, but nonetheless, at least we get resolutions to Reddit posts. If you want more content like this, relationship stuff, entitled people, stories of revenge as well, then click the subscribe button and follow for new content every single day. Drop a like on this one if you enjoyed it. Comment your thoughts as always down below, and I'll see you tomorrow for a brand new set of Reddit stories.